salawat, please. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the parents, the teacher of course, and our brilliant young future, our youth. Alhamdulillah, with the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yet another year has passed for this madrasa here, and the teachers as well as the young youth here have put in a great deal of effort in preparing a presentation for all our lovely parents today. We'd also like to take this opportunity to thank the parents who supported the madrasa throughout the year, supported their children, and ultimately, mashallah, doing an absolutely fantastic job. The children, week in, week out, are extremely happy coming to the centre. We're trying to introduce new initiatives and at the same time trying to help with Deen as much as we possibly can with your support. Without further ado, because I know the children are eagerly waiting to show their brilliant skills. Without further ado, let's inshallah commence and allow this support to the salawat, please.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum parents. We will start with our youngest students first, Class 1A.
Class 1A, they've been working really hard throughout the year and they've produced beautiful creative work. And today they have some posters to show, a little bit of their work to show, and some of them will recite surahs as well. So I'll start with On. Do you want to show your work? So we've created on the Wiladat of Imam Raza alayhi salam. So we've created, On has done beautiful work, and he's created Imam Raza's Dastakhan. I think most of the children have made them as well. And I'll just go around and they will just talk nice and quiet right here. And we did this work for parents, so they're going to give out this work to parents as well.
Allahu Akbar.
So, Allahu Akbar, it says
Imam Ali is the leader after Prophet Muhammad.
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I'll go around and read it. Is that okay? So Zainab's early work says Al-Khaliq, the creator. So she decorated with beads and other decorative stuff. Kamila's work says Ahlul Kisa are 5. So
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I have thoroughly enjoyed my class 1 learning at Baytal Madrasa. It's been an amazing experience where learning has always been fun. We have been offered lots of art and craft projects, and I never felt bored. I love art and craft personally, so preparing for poster competition was such a fun. I would like to share some of the most exciting events that are trip to Jamboree, visiting neighborhood in Ramadan, and multi-sports club. I will try to implement all my learning in my daily routine. I am so thankful to all my teachers who have been working so hard throughout this year. You have given us your time, energy and knowledge that we cannot thank you enough. May Allah bless Bradford Madrasa and all the staff members. Jazakallah.
It's my Aruj, and she has produced beautiful 2 creative work poster. Right. Okay.
Class 1A have finished. That was absolutely brilliant. Class 1A, you should be proud of yourselves. You may take a seat, and I would like to invite Class 1B to perform next.
I've created a namaz poster.
So, the timings of the namaz. Turn up.
Fajr is before dawn. Dhuhr and Asr around noon. Maghrib and Isha after sunset. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwa ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Salwan. Assalamu alaikum. There are 5 present there. We are class 1B. And there are 5 present. We are class 1B. This is our presentation. We are doing the 5 daily prayers. It is important to do them in the parts of the day. Fajr has 2 rakats. Zohar has 4 rakats. Asr has 4 rakats. Maghrib has 3 rakats. Maghrib has 3 rakats. And Isha has 4 rakats. Salawat. We are reading the 12 Imams. The first Imam is Imam Ali alayhi salam. The second Imam is Imam Hassan alayhi salam. The third Imam is Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The fourth Imam is Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. The fifth Imam is Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. The sixth Imam is Imam Jafar alayhi salam. The seventh Imam is Musa Qasim alayhi salam. The eighth Imam is Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. The ninth Imam is Imam Taqi alayhi salam. The 10th Imam is Imam Naqi alayhi salam. The 11th Imam is Imam Hassan al-Asri alayhi salam. And the 12th Imam is Imam Mahdi as-Salam. Jamaatul Afar, Plotul Tawni, Written, Shabbat, Ramzan, Fatima, 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 you are the lady of the light, you are the highest of the high, the light of our prophet's eye. You are the prophet's daughter who glories in your veins, who brought his son to us and the whole world knows his name. You are the wife of Haidar, the mother of Hussein, who gave his life for the deen and suffered so much pain. Fatima, Salawat. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Salawat.
من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد والثناء لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى اهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. اما بعد، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمه الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام.
It gives me great pleasure to speak to you all and to welcome you all to this year's presentation day. and also it gives me great pleasure because I don't get a lot of time to spend with class 1 and at class 2 I see you maybe sometimes around Salah time, but certainly class 1 I don't see you guys that much. So now this gives me an opportunity to see your faces as well. Firstly I'd like to thank the parents who diligently you're bringing your children every single week. And also, thank you for turning up and attending this. I know it means a lot to the students, but it also means a lot to the teachers as well. And they have been dedicating their hours and doing a lot behind the scenes to try and make these classes, and as you can appreciate, teaching younger children is a very hard task, at least some people way beyond anything that I could successfully do. And then, with such a large number as well. So alhamdulillah, you have seen the fruits of their labour, and you have seen, inshallah, in your children's akhlaq, their understanding, the fruits of their labour shining through. And inshallah next year they'll all be going up to whatever, class 2 looking forward to go to class 3, those of you, or class 1 looking forward to going to class 2. No? No. Not looking forward to it. It's inevitable. But inshallah. And so next year, this system will continue to progress. And I guess this is also an opportunity for me to, although I was here last year and this year as well, it is my last few weeks here at Baytal. And then someone new will come and I will move on, hopefully to pastures greener, but who knows. But inshallah, I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to make these young people successful in the pursuit of their dini knowledge. And He continues to give strength to you as parents to support them through this. At this point, it's very easy to support your children in their pursuit of Islamic knowledge. But we find as they grow older, the parents themselves become less interested in their children's education at the madaris, at the madrasa, and what they're learning. And so it's important at that point, you're also asking them when they're hitting their teens, okay, what did you learn at madrasa today? And not just hope for the best that the maulanas and whoever the senior teachers are, that they're just teaching them the right thing. I think that's something that you as parents need to follow through with your children through every single stage of their life in the madrasa, so that when they come out as individuals that have a relatively sound grounding of the basics of the deen. Otherwise, if it's not happening at home and that is not being reflected at home, it becomes a lot more difficult to create a rounded individual. So thank you, all of you, for making the time to come out and watch the presentations. Also thank you to the teachers for their dedication and their hard work that they have been putting in. I know there's been a lot of changes that have been happening rapidly, so their patience on that matter has been greatly appreciated. And then last but not least, thank you to all the children. Thank you for all of you for putting in all of this effort, making these amazing presentations. And I look forward to seeing what else you have to present to all of us. Once again, thank you everyone. Wassalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you for that, Sheikh Nabil. Next, I would like to invite the talented Class 2 to come up and...
We have had an amazing year and have really enjoyed attending Madrasa weekly. For our assembly, we have selected a few interesting topics that we learned about this year. We hope you enjoy listening and learn some important facts along the way. To begin, we will showcase and present our history projects about Prophet. Alaikum, I'm Hijab and this is Rubab and Islam Fiza. Today we will be telling you about Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Prophet Musa alayhi salam grew up strong and healthy in the land of Egypt. He was married to Zipporah, the daughter of Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam. One night, whilst traveling, Prophet Musa and his wife lost their way. Suddenly, they saw a fire in the distance. When he approached the fire, he heard a voice saying, "O Musa, I am your Lord." Then the voice asked him to throw the staff that he was holding onto the ground. At once it changed into a snake, scaring him. He was then commanded to lift the snake without fear, and when he did, it changed back into a snake. Next, he was told to put his hand under his armpit. When he drew it out again, his hand glowed bright like the sun. Then he was told by the divine voice that these are two great signs of the Lord, and was told to go to Pharaoh, the evil ruler of Egypt, and inviting them to worship your Lord. He told Pharaoh that he is the messenger and threw his staff on the ground, and it turned into a snake. This miracle frightened Pharaoh. So Pharaoh decided to call all the great magicians to his council. They threw pieces of rope on the ground, and these cords began to wriggle like snakes. But when Prophet Musa threw his staff down, his serpent out all the pieces of rope. The magicians realized that this was no magic. This was a miracle, and they fell into sujood, saying, "We believe in the Lord of Musa." Everyone took to disobey. Pharaoh continued to disobey Prophet Musa, so Pharaoh and his people were punished. When they tried to attack Prophet Musa and the people of Bani Israel was crossing the sea, Prophet Musa struck his staff, parting the sea in two. This made a right path for his people to walk to safety, and Pharaoh crossed the waters of the sea. The waters closed around him and they all drowned. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hadi. This is on Muqaddas and Minhal. Our project is about Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. Prophet Nuh was a wise and patient man and tried to teach people about Allah. He told them not to worship pieces of clay and wood. However, the people did not listen to him. And when he warned them to be afraid of Allah's punishment, they laughed at him. Allah told Prophet Nuh to plant small trees and wait for them to grow into strong trees. He cut these trees and built a huge ark which took him many years to complete. When the ark was finished, Allah told Prophet Nuh to command his followers to go inside the ark, and also take one pair of each type of animal. Suddenly it began to rain heavily. So the land was flooded with water, drowning all the non-believers, including his son Canaan, who also refused to listen to Prophet Nuh. When the flood cleared, the ark stopped on a mountain called Judy, and Prophet Nuh was commanded to start a new life under the blessings of Allah with his followers and the animals. This is Shafa and Amen. Our presentation is based on the Holy Prophet's life. Let's get started. Prophet Muhammad was born in Mecca on the 17th of Rabiul
He was the son of Abdullah and Amina. Prophet Muhammad, even as a young man, was very honest and well respected by people. He was therefore given the title as-Sadiq, the truthful, and Al-Amin, the trustworthy. It was because of his kindness and honesty that a very rich lady called Lady Khadija asked him to marry her, and they lived happily together.
So, as you already know, the verses of the Quran were sent from heaven to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Cave Hira. So, we went to Cave Hira on the 8th of July and recited the verses of Surah Fatih to the Prophet. In this next corner, you will see the Prophet's grave next to this majestic mosque that is called the Green Dome, Masjid al-Nabi in Saudi Arabia. This mosque is there because inside is the grave of our Holy Prophet Muhammad. Thank you for listening and watching our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Manur. This is Zoha, Tamis, and Dua. And our presentation is about Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Prophet Isa's mother was a very pious lady named Hazrat Maryam alayhi salam. He was born without a father, which was a miracle of Allah. When Prophet Isa was 30 years old, he received the order of Allah to start his mission, and the divine book Injil was revealed to him.
He could perform miracles like bringing a dead person back to life, making a blind person see again, and curing illnesses. These miracles made some Jews believe in him, but most did not and became his enemies. He chose 12 from his followers to learn him so that they could travel, and he chose us. However, the disbelievers plotted to find him to kill him by nailing to a cross. So they paid one of his followers 30 pieces of silver to tell them the house where Prophet Isa was staying. At this time, Allah raised Prophet Isa to the heavens to keep him safe. In the meantime, Yahuda went to Nabi Isa's house but found it empty. Allah changed Yahuda's face to look like Prophet Isa so that he would think that he was Prophet Isa and he would crucify him instead. Our holy Prophet, peace be upon him, said that when our 12th Imam reappears, Prophet Isa will come down from the heavens and pray behind him. This is the story of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam.
Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam was born at the time of the evil king Namrud, who forced his people to worship idols as their god. A short while before Prophet Ibrahim was born, Namrud was told a special child would soon stop the people from worshipping idols would be born. Namrud ordered his soldiers to examine every newborn baby to see if there were any special signs.
To protect Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam from Namrud, Ibrahim's mother hid him inside a cave outside the city. By miracle, milk came out from his fingers to survive after 13 years. She brought him back. When he returned, he tried to tell his people the truth of Allah, but they would not listen, so he came up with a plan. The plan was when everyone in the town were away at a festival, he would bring all of the idols but leave the largest one with the axe. When people saw the broken idols, they were shocked and angry. They asked Prophet Ibrahim if he had done this. He replied and said, "Ask your idol to tell you." This made them even more angry, so they took him to Namrud to decide his punishment. Namrud ordered for a huge fire to be lit. It was so hot that no one could get near it, so they catapulted Prophet Ibrahim into the fire instead. As he was in the air, he prayed to
The people that witnessed this miracle believed Prophet Ibrahim was telling the truth. At Madrasa, we learn core Islamic values and behaviours that will stay with us throughout our adulthood and define who we are. That is what makes it so important to spark an interest in caring for and protecting the environment from an Islamic perspective.
As a part of the Green Project, we have started to recycle waste in our classrooms. You'll be surprised how much paper, card and plastic is disposed of in one day. Recycling is a process of collecting and processing materials that would otherwise be thrown away as trash and turning them into new products. Recycling can benefit the community and the environment.
By recycling, we are reducing the need for extracting, refining and processing raw materials, all of which create a substantial air and water pollution. As recycling saves energy, it also reduces greenhouse gas emissions, which helps tackle climate change. Islamically, it is our duty to look after our planet by caring for the blessings Allah has given us with. We will also do our little bit to help our planet by litter picking, drawing and planting trees and plants, and by gaining more knowledge so that we can raise awareness in our community.
This year we also learn about the last 7 Imams in detail, in particular how they got their important
name as Sadiq, the truthful one.
Our seventh Imam, Musa al-Qadim al-Islam, was named al-Qadim, the one who follows.
Our 8th Imam al-Rida al-Islam was named al-Rida, the content. Our 10th Imam Ali al-Naqi al-Hadi al-Islam was named the guide. Our 11th Imam Hasan al-Askari al-Islam was named the soldier. Our 12th Imam al-Mahdi al-Islam was named al-Mahdi, the guided one. Imam Mahdi is our last Imam. He was born on the 15th of Shaban Samara. Imam Mahdi al-Islam is still alive but in Gaza.
After the death of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, the Imams tried their best to guide and lead the believers toward the right path. They taught true Islam and spread Islamic teachings that the Prophet had taught. They were often harassed by the Khalifas of their time. These beliefs were jealous and afraid of Imams, so they prevented them from teaching others, kept them under very strict control, and sometimes put them in jail. Many of our Imams were poisoned by the Khalifas of their time. To protect the 12 Imams, Allah list in Baytal. This way the enemies could not reach him. Islam, it is important to love and appreciate our parents, those who are respectful and obedient to their parents. Allah blesses them on the earth and in heavens. Allah says in the Quran, and your Lord has decreed that you not worship except Him, and be kind to your parents. In the same sentence of the Quran, Allah tells us to worship Him only and to be good to our parents. This shows us how important being kind to our parents is in Islam. The Holy Prophet has also said that when we please our parents, we please Allah. And when we upset them, we upset Allah. Our mothers gave birth to us, fed us, clothed us, and looked after us. This is why the Prophet said, heaven lies under the feet of our mothers. In Ramadan, we delivered the gift boxes in the neighborhood to show kindness and gratitude. Our neighbors were extremely thankful. The trip to jump the rules was a highlight of mine, and as it was really fun to go trampolining with my friends. I entered the Radio of Light Art Challenge because I love to draw and paint. I especially enjoyed creating artwork in honor of Lady Fatima alayhi Islam. My highlights were presenting the Imam alayhi Salam presentations and reciting walking together at the Al-Bani workshop. Finally, as it is Eid, soon we have put together a short play. We hope you like it. Imam Ali alayhi Islam, noble in character, a courageous victor and a symbol of justice and fairness. Prophet Rasulullah was so confident in Imam Ali's judgment that he would appoint Amir al-Mu'mineen as executive leader when he himself was not present to rule over the Muslims. The Prophet, peace be upon him, made sure and announced his important appointment in a land called Ghadir on the day we call the Day of Ghadir. It was the noon of 18th Dhul-Hijjah, 10 years after the migration of the Holy Prophet. A large caravan of more than 120,000 Muslims accompanied the Messenger of Allah on his final trip from Mecca to Medina. The caravan stopped at Ghadir following the orders of their beloved Prophet.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa in lam taf'al fama ballaghta risalata, wallahu yasimuka minan nas. O Apostle, deliver what has been revealed to you from your Lord, and if you do not, then you have not delivered his message, and Allah will protect you from the people. And tells them the good news that will guarantee the protection of the Islamic faith. He wishes to follow the lines of his successor.
Addressing the crowd, he takes the hand of Ali and raises it high and announces, Muhammadun Mola wa hada Aliyun Mola. God is my master and I am the master of people. Whoever I am the master, Ali is his master. O God, support those who support Ali and oppose those who oppose Ali.
I'm sure you would agree the children perform with such maturity and confidence today. It's been a pleasure to watch them develop and grow this year. I speak on behalf of all the teachers here today, Badul, Tyra, Parveen, Rizwana, everybody, Shazia. And Jazakallah for coming once again, and inshallah bring on next year.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In around 250 CE, there ruled a Roman king called Decius, who would annually hold a gathering dedicated to the worshipping of idols. Many people would attend dressed in their best clothing. However, one youth believed in the oneness of Allah, the teachings of Isa alayhi salam, and shunned pagan worship. He rebelled against the practices that were happening in the society. He attracted another youth and then another to form a small group.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A Sahabi Kahf story is mentioned in the Quran in Surah Al-Kahf. It's about a group of pious youth who sought refuge from a tyrannical pagan king, and in which Allah caused them to sleep for 309 years. The cave is located in the suburb of Abu Alanda in Amman.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes them by sleeping in the Holy Quran in Surah Al-Kahf. You would have thought they were awake, though they lay asleep. We turned them over to the right and the left, with their dogs stretching out its forelegs at the entrance. If you have seen them, you would turn and run away with fear of them.
The Quran further states that the period of time these sleepers spent in the cave was 300 days, during which the calendar of the people was changed from solar to lunar, and as a result, the period of their sleep was 309 years. When the king heard of their rebellion, he became very angry and issued a command for them to be killed. In order to save their iman, faith, they fled and went into hiding. On their escape route, they met a young farmer who owned a dog. They gave him dawah. He accepted and decided to also join them. Eventually, they came to a cave in which they made dua to Allah for ease. They decided to take rest there for a while, leaving the dog named Kitmiya near the entrance as a guard. Allah caused them and the dog to sleep for 300 years. King Decius enters the scene. A loyal servant invites the inhabitants. Your Highness, Cody invites you to the festival. Your Highness.
Wa alaikum salam. We will have a grand celebration.
People are gathering around and listening.
This is unacceptable. There is only one Lord. We are not idol worshippers. I do not worship idols.
We are followers of Hazrat Isa bin Maryam. It goes against our faith.
We cannot attend this festival.
This is nonsense.
There is only one Lord.
King Decius hated and said angrily,
Soldiers, capture them and kill them.
Let's go home and bring some passages for the king.
Has ordered the command to kill us.
Why does he want to kill you?
We are not idol worshippers. We believe in one God. We do not believe in polytheism.
The Ashabi Kahf found the entrance of the cave. Rest there for a while, leaving Kitmia the dog near the entrance for a guard. description were unusual out of our science.
Please can you go and buy some food for everyone? I am hungry. I am coming with you. Let's go.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Where are you from?
We are from a cave. We spent a little time there.
King Darius issued a command for us to be killed, so we fled and hid in a cave. When these men died, they were buried in the cave along with their dog. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we cast a cover of sheep over their ears within the cave for a number of years. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wajil farjahum.
Of various topics. I would like to invite Romessa and Armana. The topic is submission to Allah.
Submitting to Allah due to mentally and spiritually having full and utmost belief of His existence. In doing this, you always do good deeds and act righteously. As when acknowledging His divine power, you know that He is one and is always there and watching.
And this motivates you to stay on the right path and do all of the wajib and mustahab acts that please Allah in submission to Allah.
In Karbala, Imam Hussein alayhi salam had one of the greatest acts of submission to Allah, which was when he had a much smaller army than the enemy of Islam, but he continued because the will of Allah was for him to not do bay'ah to Yazid. Allah wanted him to save Islam by not accepting Yazid as the caliph. So Imam Hussein alayhi salam was forced to sacrifice a 6-month baby son in submission to Allah and to save humanity. Above the last submission to Allah is most evident through the eloquence of Dua Arafat, where for the eternity he was praising Allah and giving gratitude, and only at the end he asks for protection against hellfire. This therefore teaches us a significant lesson in always submitting to Allah even in the most difficult times.
We can imply submission in our daily lives by believing we should obey all the rules of Islam. In submission to Allah, we do this because we're not only afraid of the consequences, we have acknowledged that Allah is watching us at all times. For example, you should avoid everything Allah has made haram, such as lying, as Allah can see you. To do submission, we should also act upon our belief in our daily life. Allah wants us to have good akhlaq, and we should try to show our good manners every day in our actions.
I would like to invite Hassan and Axel to come and present their topic, and this topic is overview on the life of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Dear parents, and today I will be presenting you some key facts and a hadith on Prophet Muhammad. He was born on 17th of Rabiul Awwal. His birthplace was Mecca. He died 28th of Safar. His death place was Medina, and his successor was Ali ibn Abi Talib. His father was Sayyid Abdullah and his mother was Sayyida Amina. His wife was Bibi Khadija and his daughter was Fatima. His titles are Rasulullah and Rahmatul Alameen. The playlist is the one that stays close to Allah even when it's in pain.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today I'll be presenting the major event of Prophet Muhammad's life. Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the holy prophet. He was born in Makkah 571 AD. His father died before his birth. He was brought up by his grandfather and uncle. He was known as Amin and Sadiq due to his honesty and truthfulness. He worshipped Allah in a cave. There he received the message of Allah. There he gave his message. The Arabs advised them not to worship his idols, but one true God they turned against. He was forced to leave Makkah. He left for Medina. He gathered a large number of followers around him. After a few years, he conquered Makkah. He destroyed their idols and showed them the right path. He is the last beloved prophet that is the most trustworthy and respectful. The Prophet said, the greatest jihad is to battle your own soul, to fight the evil within yourself.
Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the heavens, the earth, the contents, and everything that exists. May peace and blessings be upon all his prophets, messengers dying from Prophet Adam alayhi salam, culminating with his final messenger, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The greatness of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lies in being successful in both worldly and spiritual affairs. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was successful because he delivered the Quran to all the believers and he was given Prophet Muhammad by the angel Jibreel, and this was the order of Allah.
To invite Muhammad Bakir now, and Muhammad Bakir's topic is the life of Imam Mahdi.
He is the 12th Imam of our time. That Imam is hidden in Gate al-Kubra of the Great Calculation. How should we prepare? Read Namaz, read Quran, give charity, we should do Amar bin Maruf, spread the message of the Imams and follow the way of Sunnah. This is the way we should wait for our beloved Imam. Now I'm going to be reading Hadith. The hidden Imam al-Islam serves as divinely functioned like the sun which functions behind the clouds. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Jazakallah khair, Bakir. Now I would like to invite Batul, Husna, Usra, Fajr. And the topic is the life of Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we'll be talking about Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Imam Ali was born inside the Kaaba on the 13th of Rajab and was a member of the Quraysh. Imam Ali's father was Abu Talib and his mother was Fatima bint Asad. His mother and father were both from the Banu Hashim. It was an honor for Imam Ali that both of his parents belonged to the Banu Hashim. He was a cousin and son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad and a member of the Ahlul Bayt. Imam Ali was the first Imam who is the rightful successor of Prophet Muhammad. He is infallible and sinless in his one of the 14 Muslims in the household of Prophet Muhammad. This is how the Sufi card was revealed to Imam Ali alayhi salam. The Sufi edged sword, it has a notch to where its blade was divided into two. According to tradition, it was given to Imam Ali in the Battle of Uhud. The Sufi card was revealed to Imam Ali after his sword broke several times during battle. Imam Ali proceeds to use it and strike down the enemies of the Quraysh. The attempted assault of Prophet Muhammad successfully repelled. After this, angel Jibreel reignited in the skies. There is no hero like Ali, there is no sword like Zulfikar. These are his sayings. When you get small favors, do not push them away through lack of gratefulness. He who is abandoned by near ones is due to remote ones. All matters one subject to destiny, so much that sometimes death results forever. Fear by Allah. He has hidden your sins so much so as though he has forgiven.
Keep walking in sickness as long as you can.
Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Jazakallah, subhanallah. I would like to, at the last, I would like to invite Fida Ali and Mohsin to come and present. Their topic is the life of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to tell you about the lesson of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The city that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born in was Mecca. Was born in Mecca on Friday the 17th day of the lunar month of Rabiul Awwal in the year of 570 CE. Prophet Muhammad was the son of Abdul, he was the son of Abdul Muttalib, who was the son of Hashim, whose ancestors reached the Prophet Ismail, son of the Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. Prophet Muhammad was a mercy to the world and showed enduring love to Allah's creations.
The lesson we can learn from the life of Prophet are love trumps hate. Rasulullah taught us that we need to be better at confronting hate rather than stooping to the same level as those who promote hate. We need to have a bigger heart and be better than who spread negativity. Choose forgiveness over revenge. Rasulullah was discriminated by children and elders telling them to throw rocks at him, and he was driven out of the city, rejected and physically hurt. An angel was later sent and offered Prophet Muhammad if he wished for actions to be taken against who that hurt him. Prophet Muhammad said, I would rather hope that Allah will rise from among their descended people who will worship Allah the One and will not ascribe partners to him.
Sadiq and Amin were the two titles that were given to the Prophet Muhammad from Quraysh. Sadiq means the truthful, Al-Amin means the most trustworthy. These are two hadiths from the Prophet. Worldly life is short, so turn to Allah before you return to Allah. The best of you are those who are the best to their women.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. That was the end of the presentation from class 4. Jazakallah khair for listening. Jazakallah children.
For college, Imam Nabi Islam has stated, the most complete gift from God is the life based on knowledge.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all of the time for paradise. Seeking knowledge is one of the things that surely lead us to paradise. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, whoever follows the path and pursuit of knowledge, Allah makes his way easy to paradise. Teaching others is one of the good deeds that will get us great rewards even after death. Whoever leaves behind beneficial knowledge will get rewarded as long as people are still benefiting from his knowledge. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, when a man dies, all his deeds come to an end except for 3: ongoing charity, beneficial knowledge.
To talk, here's something that you hadn't known before. It could be for worldly or religious issues. It is necessary for us to earn a living and create our own family when we are for that you need knowledge. It is important that you gain knowledge to live a successful and halal life. It is imperative for us to understand the world that we live in, to understand our religious origins.
It is very important and holds great prominence in Islam. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has said seeking knowledge is obligatory upon all Muslims. Religious and worldly knowledge isn't only important but also useful to understand how Islam is the origin of all knowledge we get taught in school. Knowledge also helps us prove that Islam is the truth.
Go have it when you die, and it will also increase your knowledge, which then you could help others who are interested.
The Prophet of God was asked one time, "What is knowledge?" He replied, "To keep silent." He was then asked, "Then what?" He said, "To listen attentively." He was then asked, "Then what?" He said, "To remember." He was asked, "Then what?" He said, to act upon. He was asked, "Then what?" He said, "To propagate."
Knowledge and community about Islam. Islam provided great impetus for the human pursuit of knowledge. The first verse that descended on the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Ikra. Was Ikra, meaning read, opening the door to read, write and ponder. The Quran urges the mankind to think creation. The Quran uses repetition to embed certain key concepts in the consciousness of its listeners. Allah and the Rabb, the Sustainer, are repeated 2,800 and 950 times, respectively, in the sacred text. Ilm, knowledge, comes third with 750 mentions.
Madrasa is a place where we can go to learn so that we can get closer to Allah. And one way to learn is by asking questions. It is a perfect place to ask these questions. The reply is an environment where we feel comfortable to ask these questions. This is what doesn't mean we can gain knowledge without having a fear of being judged or laughed at. And this is all possible thanks to all the teachers.
The madrasa brings all the Shia together as a community, and everyone comes to listen to lectures and majlis. It's a place where everyone is safe and should enjoy the time at Imam's house.
My experience on madrasa has been amazing. I have learned so much about Islam, manners and the Prophet, what happened to the Imams, and how Islam was made as a religion, and how it got spread around the world.
I would say in a concise sentence, madrasa has been a blessing from Allah for all of us. We have acquired great knowledge throughout the precious time we have been here. While in the learning process, we have been constantly challenged and have been disciplined by it. We have been encouraged to think and analyze critically. Through the kindness and efforts of devotion of our teachers here, we are being molded into the personalities that our Imam Zaman alayhi salam. The personality that he alayhi salam wants us to be. I only wish we had more days in the week to be here and benefit from this house of blessing and knowledge.
How will gated knowledge help you in life? Wisdom is the key to life and will get you very far. You must stay conscious of your actions and ensure that you are guided correctly by the correct people, not a fool. One way to run your life is by poisoning your wisdom. You must seek knowledge to power yourself through conflict and adversities to live well in the future. Sallallahu.
Dear Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam has said, everything diminishes when used except from knowledge. This hadith tells us how knowledge increases when we share that knowledge with others. For example, if a teacher teaches students one way of solving an equation, a student might have another way of solving it and getting the right answer. In this way, the student learns the way the teacher uses, and the teacher learns the way the student does it. In both ways, you do not lose anything but actually further increase the knowledge. Another example is if you give a man a fish, he will be full for one day. But if you teach him how to fish, he will be full for the rest of his life. Here you can see that the fish the man was given was diminished in a day as the man ate it, but the knowledge the man gained from learning how to fish stayed with him. Sallallahu.
Thank you for listening. I hope we conveyed our message of how knowledge in the madrasa is important to the community.
So we're now going to do the presentation for Class 5. They just did an exam earlier this morning, and so we've marked first, second and third place. And then after that, we'll call the rest of the class up to take their reports. In each of the report packs, or in each of the packs that the children will be given, young people will be given is a report card. We would urge parents to please read their children's report cards. I haven't written it, so you're all right. So please read them, look at their marks as well, and maybe have a discussion with them. Stern one. No, they're okay, alhamdulillah. Okay, so we're going to start off with the first, second and third place. And so we marked everyone together, boys versus girls. In first place is Fakhir Shah. In second place, Zara Nukwi. And in third place, I forgot. Oh yeah, Kumail. Kumail in third place. Yeah, it was very close between first and second place.
There's just 0.5 of a mark between first and second. So, mashallah, they did really well.
Yeah.
And thank you for all your hard work and your effort. And I know it's not easy to get up on that Saturday and come in, but mashallah, all praise to your parents, all praise to you as well. And thank you very much. Inshallah, we look forward to seeing you all in September. So we just like to present all of them with a small gift, a token of appreciation from us for them getting up on that Saturday out of their warm beds and coming into madrasa. So yeah, so can you all just, I don't know, I'll just read your name out. So Arman? Arman? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Hussein Ali? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Hussein Zedi? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Wasi? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Abi Sayyid? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Isa? And these guys come all the way from Scunthorpe, so mashallah, well done. Onaid Fatma? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Masuma Nakwi? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Zara. That is Zara. And Abadali? And we've got Zain Ali. And just while we're doing that, I think respected Sheikh Nabil will not be with us in the next year, so we just can do a little bit of a present and a little token of appreciation, but obviously the way that you've embedded your knowledge within the hearts of these children and ours, those words will be with us for the rest of our lives. So it's not that you're going away, you have left all that behind. And Jazakallah for all your time and effort, and inshallah, thank you very much.
I don't know who to address. Do I address you guys, the parents? Seeing as though it's my last ever address to you. It has been an absolute pleasure teaching you all, most of the time at least. No, it has been. We've. I like to think we're all on a level, and they can come to me at every point. It's when I started a year and a half ago to where we are now. when I look at the questions that are asked, that's how I judge how much progression has happened in their mindsets. My idea was not to enforce Islamic knowledge on you, but was to rather open your minds to the vastness of Islam and how we're usually linear in our thinking, but in reality, Islam is much more than that. It's not the confines of the culture that we place upon it, but it is much more than that. And I hope that you guys that are leaving this year, you don't stop your Islamic knowledge. It never stops. It never stops. But the only thing is, an individual stagnates. Don't ever stagnate. Because like stagnant water, once it stops moving, it becomes the place where diseases grow. So where mosquitoes lay and where all sorts of other nasties come in. It begins to smell. In the same way, the human soul that stops progressing begins to let off a smell as well. When it stops wanting to do better, your 2 days should never be the same. Every day you should look and say, how can I improve on yesterday? How can I do better than I was? How can I become better than I actually was yesterday? And if you do that, then you'll be okay. But if you just settle, half settle, like, this is okay, then you won't ever amount to anything in life. Nobody ever achieved anything great in life by just saying, yeah, it's okay, I'll just take it, it's easier. Pushing yourself over that limit, pushing yourself beyond, like some people say, push yourself to your limit. No, push yourself beyond your limits. Because you'll realize that those limits that you had were actually self-imposed the whole time. You thought that was your limit, but actually it is far greater. And that's what I've tried to explain to you over these last, well, some of you have only taught for the last 6-7 months, but those of you that have been with me longer, it is that don't restrict yourself to just a single mindset. Learn about the wider world, and that will make you more rounded individuals. Imam Ali alayhi salam has said that I studied the people of the past, and I studied them so much it was as if I lived amongst them. So he studied non-Islam, he was talking about other religions, other places. So there's no right thing, there's no wrong thing to learn. All knowledge. Knowledge, hikmah is the lost treasure of the believers. Even if you must gain that knowledge, even if you go to the people of hypocrisy. It doesn't matter where you get that knowledge from. If you've got to go somewhere far, go somewhere far. But make sure that you gain that knowledge. And make sure you have a wide range, because it'll make you a well-rounded person. I was speaking to someone, I was telling the guys yesterday at the discussion circle that, he was saying he's just starting out lecturing. So and he was like, can you give me some tips? And he sent me some of his lectures. He was like, can you listen to it? And after I listened to the lectures, there was a bunch of things that we were tweaking with him. But I said to him, look, do you read books? And this is what I said to you guys as well. I said, do you read books? He goes, yeah, I've got the book on this by Alama Mutahari, I've got this and this. And I said, no. Like, do you read fiction books? Yeah? And he says, what do you mean? I go, well, have you read Harry Potter? Have you read Lord of the Rings? Have you read Lord of the Flies? Have you read a bunch of all these other fiction books? Bearing in mind, this is a Maulana, as I am speaking to, and he's like, no, I haven't. And I said, well, you need to go and read them. And he's like, why? Because I said, look, one thing that was lacking in him was his control, his command over the English language and his sentence structure and things. When you read books of fiction, if you're looking at it with that angle of strengthening your vocabulary, being able to become more well-rounded in terms of your language, there's not a problem. And so this is what I mean. that if traditionally I had said to you as homework, go and read Harry Potter, your parents might have gone, what has he's gone mad? We're sending him to madrasa, and but there's an idea behind it. This is what Amir al-Mu'mineen says, al-hikmatu dhalatul mu'min. It doesn't, knowledge of all sorts is your property. It is under your ownership. It just requires, and I've said to you so many times, exams don't mean anything to me. Exams don't mean anything. IQ tests, all that, we've had these discussions. It doesn't mean, just because you got something low in the exam, doesn't mean that you're not intelligent in regards to the deen. And just because you came first, second or third, doesn't mean that you're smarter than anyone else in the class. It's people have their own abilities. People have their own style and their own intellect. Intellect cannot be defined by an exam. And this is why, up until this point, I wasn't giving you any exams. Because I genuinely, from both a psychological perspective, both an Islamic perspective, I just don't think exams serve to actually tell me who you are. Because whatever your results are, each and every one of you, I know you that you're more intelligent than that. That's just one aspect. How much could you memorize? Yeah. But that's not you. You are not defined by your exam results, whether they're the best or whether they're the worst. It doesn't define you. You are far greater. You are far greater. That's why Imam Ali, he says that do you consider yourself something to be something insignificant? No, within you is Alimul Akbar. Within you is the great universe. Within you, each and every one of you, hold the sacred breath. Nafakhtu fihi min ruhi. God says, I blew into the human being an aspect of my soul. You are far greater than you could ever imagine. All you have to do is believe it and work to unlock that greatness. That doesn't happen by you doing exams. It happens after. See, where you unlock your greatness is where you're no longer forced to wake up in the morning and come into madrasa to hear me droning on at you. Your greatness comes when you wake up in the morning and you yourself want to learn. You yourself want to know more about the deen, about the world. And I hope, I really do hope, if you've learned nothing from me in these last 2 years, you've at least learned that there's so much more about the world. And I've at least inspired you to go and study something and to, develop your personality, your knowledge base. I really do hope that. And inshallah, I hope that our paths do cross again. Our lives are such that we go to certain places and then maybe 5-6 years pass and then I maybe walks back and see you, by which time I can't recognize any of you. Because everyone's grown up and stuff. But I hope that we will stay in contact. I know we said last night at the discussion circle that we'll be doing Zoom sessions because with the people from Africa as well, and with you guys as well, that we can just go on and just have that discussion with each other about how life's going and how it is that you're progressing. But remember, Islam isn't just for madrasa. Islam isn't just in Imam Baghdad. Your Islam is with you everywhere. You are Muslim in school, you are Muslim at home. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever compromise on your faith. Because it is beneath you as individuals who have been bestowed with the greatest blessing that any human being could have been given. And that is the wilayah of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. This is the greatest blessing that you could ever be given. You have an imam who cares about you, who waits for you,
who sees your every single action, who sees your deeds at the end of every week. Let us not be a disappointment for our Imam. And it's not by exams, it's by our character. If our character is bad, our Imam is disappointed. If our character is good and you learn just being a good person, that's all. That's all, just being a good person. And I hope that in this time that I've had with you, that at least I've inspired you to look at the religion, look at the world in a different light. It has been my absolute pleasure to have been with you, to have taught you, to have learnt from you as well. And I do hope, inshallah, Allah keeps you all safe and successful in every aspect of your life, and that you continue to be a shining light for the Husayniyah, and you become the future leaders that will inspire the next generation to grow, because that responsibility now, as the elders of the madrasa, as those that may be graduating, if you want to, from the madrasa, that responsibility falls on your shoulders. So don't fall short in that responsibility. Thank you very much for listening. Wassalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.